You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you. See you, see you.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody. How are you? It's Darylyn Haywood and Diane Byer from the Red Wine and our awesome executive producer, Roddy Rick Robinson. We're so happy that you're here with us tonight, although hopefully you won't be disappointed after the show. However, we had a little bit of difficulty. Israel. We recorded a 3-hour segment with her yesterday, but we had some technical difficulties converting from the video to the audio. So delete if you're listening. I apologize. Wait until our listeners hear what Delete had to say. Right, Di?
Oh my gosh. It was unbelievable.
And I think
I
what will surprise people the most is that people in Israel do have sympathy for people in Gaza. They're not totally unsympathetic to their position. However, and I'll just give a little recap and then we'll move on because I definitely don't want to spoil any of the education that we had or take away from our two-part series, which we're calling Killing Us Softly for a reason, is because, with what happened at the congressional hearing with Elise Stefanik, and, she's a hero. I really admire her. I admired her before this. And I think she handled herself very well. I think SNL was totally out of line. And they're not even funny anyways anymore.
When was the last time you watched realistically Saturday Night Live? I can probably say the last time I watched it might have been when Eddie Murphy was still on there. I don't know. That's how long ago.
Okay, I'll tell you exactly. Who was the big fat guy that used to yell? Sam Kinison?
Chris Farley used to be on there too, right? But Sam Kinison was a riot. I loved him.
Okay. Farley's the one that said, I lived by a camper by the ocean, by the river or something like that, or by the dump.
Yeah, Sam Kinison was the one that used to scream and, I love Sam Kinison. He was a riot.
So I just want to give a shout out to Delete because, I studied up on this an awful lot. And just as a little precursor, when Delete was going to be on, before Diane decided to break her leg in a million places and have 2 reconstructive surgeries, and she's now the bionic woman. I think Diane will be able to drink a 6-pack and run 100 miles an hour. She doesn't even like beer, but we have to give a little. We're going to be all over the place tonight, okay? Just so you know. First of all, I want to say I have these new headphones, so I feel like I'm underwater, sort of. I'm trying to acclimate with these new headphones on. So, okay, ADD, Darylyn, back up. So we spoke to Delete. She lives in central Israel. Agreement. I may be saying the wrong word, a 2-part partition agreement, much like, a 2-party state, okay? And it was the Muslims, the Arab Muslims, and the Jews. And I don't want to say they lived in complete and total harmony, but they weren't trying to kill each other. And then in 1967, there was the 6-Day War where Egypt, Syria, and Jordan decided they were going to attack Israel. Well, Israel is a mighty whole entire territory from the West Bank all the way up to the north, from the river to the sea. Now, from the river to the sea, when someone says that now, it basically means the annihilation, the genocide of Jews. And what I want people in Falmouth, Fabulous Falmouth on Facebook to understand, I think his name was Johnston, I can't remember his first name. He said, us American Jews, and he's not even American with a name like Johnston, we don't care about the Israeli Jews. And, Di and I were talking and we said, do you think the annihilation is just going to start in Israel? No, they want to conquer the world. So first it's the Israeli Jews, then it's the Falmouth Jews, then it's the Wayland Jews, then it's the Brewster Jews. And then what? Then the Christians. So any nuts going through the genocide of any people, you really have to think about, well, who's next? So she explained that to us, and they tried to give, once they conquered that land, they tried to give Gaza back, and they didn't want it. Nobody wanted them back. So Israel's not actually occupying the West Bank, but the West Bank is sending missiles, and they're funded by Iran and perhaps China. And what the United States has to understand is if we don't have Israel in the Middle East, and France and Germany are dependent upon the Middle East being free, as well as the United States. So if Israel crashes, then Iran and China will team up against the rest of us. And we're not looking for another world war. But I don't want to give it all away because I almost cried. Did you almost cry when?
Yeah, I was just listening to what they live day in and day out, and knowing, that on the flip side, there is a lot of people that live in Palestine that aren't part of this, don't want to be part of this, but are forced to be part of it because they know that Hamas is in the homes. They know that their children are in danger because they're putting the missiles on the schools. They're very cunning.
Well, just to clarify, it's Hamas that is putting the launchers in the schools.
Yes.
In the right, so where all the kids are in the hospitals. So, I didn't want to give this whole thing away because it really was a very moving experience for me and I to hear how Dalit's son has manifestations of PTSD. They lost about 100 soldiers because they would go to the homes of these people in the Gaza and let them know, hey, you need to clear out because we're going to bomb you. And those soldiers were killed. And then Dalit's son is actually living in another country because, he was in war and he didn't want to kill anyone, but he also was fighting for his country. So there's a lot of very damaged people there. And Israel was actually going in there once a week and bringing people out. And then Hamas was holding them as hostage. And we spoke about this terrible slaughter, and we'll leave that for next week. But let's move on to, if you're okay with it, Hunter Biden.
Oh, Lord.
Freaking kidding me? I love this guy. The MAGA Republicans, the Make America Great Again Republicans are terrible people. It's an oxymoron, like make America great.
What did he honestly think he is going to accomplish by standing on the stairs and rebelling like a little punk? And meanwhile, all of the Trump children have all testified willingly before all these committees, and you got this punk who says, I don't have to do because make America. You know what? Go pound sand, Hunter. You're a fucking excuse my French. You're a criminal.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Criminal. You shouldn't get any special friggin' treatment. I don't care if your father is the president, who isn't even cognitively there.
Okay, we know he's going to get special treatment in some way. And
yeah, well, I hope he gets special treatment when he goes back to jail.
But what do addicts do? Okay, they
deny.
They're not fully recovered, and maybe when they are fully recovered, but they deny, they mitigate, and they manipulate. And that's the hardest thing for families to, like, I think everybody, well, not everybody, but some of our listeners know that I worked undercover narcotics for 10 years. And they're very manipulative. Even when they get clean, it's hard to give up those characteristics that you've grown over the years. And they will, if it's raining outside, they'll tell you it's beautiful and sunny and be super convincing. But someone should have written the narrative for him. And I think he would have done a lot better if he had been just the slightest bit grateful, the slightest bit humble, the slightest bit honest. And he's trying to control the narrative. But you know what? He will not control the narrative when he's in the courtroom. He will not control the narrative while he's testifying. So he's already attempting to mitigate. And he says, I messed up, but I went to Georgetown and I did this. And what cases have you ever tried? I mean, you got caught with a hooker and a gun and naked pictures of yourself. You denigrated yourself. And
he slept with his brother's wife and married her or whatever.
Did they actually get married?
I think they did, briefly.
But this is a man, and we know someone in this county that's like this, that denies the birth of his child. I mean, talk about being the biggest scumbag on the face of the earth. I mean, Di, we always say this, right? If you don't protect children and old people, then you have no soul.
No, none. They're your most vulnerable population.
But didn't Steve Bannon and Trump get in trouble for, quote, speaking out of school? And here's Hunter Biden holding the presser saying, like, It's not my fault there was an attic. It's not my fault they had a gun. It's not my fault I was so high. I left my.
But here's the thing, okay? He was supposed to testify, from what I understand, I think under subpoena. So if they treat him any different than they treated who else did they sit there and get that wouldn't testify? I think it was no, they got them for lying. That's right, because you know what? He doesn't want to testify because he's going to lie. And then precedent's already been set with arresting all those people.
Well, what I think is some politicians, you have your forward-facing persona, and he wants to mitigate. I didn't do it. My dad didn't do it. We all know that's the biggest.
Yeah, but he changed the words. He changed the words to my dad had no. So now all of a sudden it's financial dealings. That's bull. First of all,
right. I mean,
they have the evidence.
Because
being an investigator, all right, that the money trails normally don't lie. And when you connect the money trails, if it leaves one part and is deposited into another account that is owned by someone that they would have had to sign for, because we all remember when you open an account now for all these years, you had to provide your license because of the Patriot Act and all that stuff, okay? So
cameras in the bank.
Well, not only that, but the money went into Joe Biden's account from his brothers. Now, honestly, the whole key player in a lot of this, more so I think than Hunter Biden, is the brother, James Biden, I think it is. He is the biggest sleaze, but he's been the one that's been hand in hand with Hunter Biden. I mean, they both have worked all these scams all these years with Joe Biden.
Time out.
What?
Time out. I didn't know there was another brother. I never heard of the other brother.
Well, no, James Biden is Joe Biden's brother.
Oh, Joe. Okay, not Hunter's brother. I'm sorry. I gotcha. Received.
It was the $40,000 that got sent from his account that he claimed was a loan from Joe Biden, yet there's never any evidence that Joe Biden ever gave him $40,000. Okay. But James Biden has been involved in a lot of real estate dealings. He's lived off of his brother's career all these years. He's been hand in hand with Hunter Biden in a lot of these different little plans and games and whatever that they've been doing. He is direct sleaze. And I can't believe that really his name is not out there as much as it should be. He's really someone that people really need to look into and research. Because he and his wife have been making big bucks off of this.
Well, we don't catch the smart ones. We do catch the smart ones every once in a while, but typically organized crime is much more organized than this. But you add in a drug addict, okay? You add in someone with dementia. You add in a little bit of trauma, with the deaths in the family. And it's a big mess. It's a big goulash of mess. And he is getting special treatment. The Trump kids, the Trump siblings, the Trump children were raked over the coals just the same. And look, none of them were indicted. None of them were caught with a hooker.
Yeah.
None of them had a gun. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like he's doing his best because if someone's not religious and they're about to die, and or how people are, they're like, oh my God, please God, I promise I'll never do this ever again if I just don't get arrested, or people are bargaining with God,
right.
And he's bargaining with the general public because he knows that he's cooked, his goose is cooked, and once he steps into that hearing, there's no more mitigation. It's calling for the genocide of Jews. Is that or is that not against the code of conduct? It depends on the context. Well, he doesn't have the luxury of saying it depends on the context because they already know the context. By the time you get to trial or you get to a congressional hearing, the facts are already sorted. Anybody worth their salt as an investigator, or I think, is it Jim Jordan that's doing the inquiry?
I think it's Combs. That's what CO.
Comer.
Yes,
no.
Comer.
it Comer? Comer.
Yeah, Comer. Because we're thinking of Comey, but it's Comer.
Right. You know, it's amazing, and
Yeah, well, it's amazing even
you know,
more is how the fact that Comey and all their crew knew all about this, and they held on to it. They all knew, but they were so deeply in the establishment, and the unelected. They were part of the unelected bureaucrats that are running this country, and they covered it up, just like they tried to cover up Hillary Clinton. So any Republican who ever gets into office.
How about her?
Who?
How about Hillary Clinton having someone arrested because he wrote a meme about her? He did a meme about her.
Well, I am surprised that I haven't been arrested because of all the stuff I've said about her, for crying out loud.
Well, you know what? I have an attorney friend, and I don't know if he's listening. Bill, how are you, Bill? He's a very high-profile attorney. I won't give his last name. But he sends me the greatest memes. I have to tell you. I have some memes of Julian Sayre that I can't even make public. They're so good. I mean, they are just pee your pants like you're in the emergency room with Diane Byer when she breaks her ankle.
For the record, I did not pee my pants.
Okay, wait. Do you mind if I just say a little bit of this story?
I don't care.
Because, honest to God, right, I promise I won't say the swear words, but...
You can say the swear words.
Well, I don't want... Well, maybe I will. Let me see. So if anyone doesn't know, Diane came down to see me, and it's been a while since, of course we've been on the phone for, forever, but our schedules, she has a job and I have twins and 16 twins and a daughter and a husband and all the things that come with that. So she finally came down. We go to this event, and it was a good event, wasn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
I mean, it was a really good event put on by the Cape Cod Women's Republican Club, and I want to, tip my hat to Michelle De Silva and Ann Kennedy and Penny Hemsley, because they really did a great job. Okay. So afterwards, our friend, Jeffrey Sosa Paquette, and my friend Lorraine Cambria, Jeffrey Sosa Paquette ran for Congress, and he was kind enough to, drive 4 hours with Lorraine to, come and see us, which was fabulous. I so appreciate it. I'm indebted to him. So we're leaving, and we shut the light out, and Diane's talking with Jeffrey at the top of the stairs. And of course, there's me and 2 of my retired cop friends, and we're admiring Lorraine's Cadillac. Unfortunately, her dad died, and she had the Cadillac that she had given to her daughter, Bella. Bella's an awesome swimmer, by the way. Full ride to college. I won't say which one. So all of a sudden we hear, hello, and we turn around, and Di's on the ground in the dark. And like cops, if you're not working as a cop anymore, you can have a whole total explosion go on behind you, and you'll finish your conversation, okay, and drink your coffee, and then turn around to look and see what happens, because you've gone through so much trauma in your 25 or 30 years of being a cop that you're not that fazed about things, right? So, and I say this, Di, I love you with all my heart, right? But I'll say, you were right and I was wrong. You won't hear me say that very often, but you were right and I was wrong. Rick,
and I was saying,
Rick, Di was right and I was wrong.
It's a miracle.
I used to work with this, right? I used to work with this trooper, Carol Harding, and she loved saying that to her partner when she was in narcotics too. She would make him say it. You say it. He's like, oh, do I have to say it? She'd be like, yeah, you say it. He'd be like, you were right and I was wrong. She's like, I can't hear you. So full on disclosure. So we look over at Diane. She's on her ass, and we're like, so we turn totally nonchalant, like, what are you doing? She's like, I think I broke my ankle. She's not crying. She's not screaming. Nothing. She's not bleeding. So we walk over to her, and one of my friends grabs her light on her phone, and of course, here's what cops do, right? You ain't crying. You ain't bleeding.
Yep.
Nothing poking through your skin. Can you wiggle your toes? Yeah. Can you wiggle your ankle? Yeah. Get up. You're fine. It ain't broken. And Di's like, no, I think it's broken. And I'm like, we've seen people, in trauma, and they are screaming their head off, and yelling and crying. And so Di was just so composed and so, she's on her ass. She obviously took a tumble down 5 brick stairs, and she's on her ass in the dark. So she's like, okay, well, all right, well, you gotta get up. She's like, I think it's broken. I'm like, okay. She tries to stand on it. Bang! It's like, okay, okay, whatever. So
I was like, yeah, I think I broke it.
So I'm like,
pretty confident.
Well, no, I didn't. I wasn't convinced then, right? So I was like, all right, whatever. I'll go get the car. Right, so I go get the car. I pull the car up, and the door's open. So what's that?
I don't know. I did.
Okay. So I pull the car up, I open the back door, and we have to get Di to the car. So she gets in the car, and she falls face first, okay? Into the freaking backseat. And her legs are sticking out, and she can't move her foot. And I'm
It's me still trying to clean up you guys' transmission.
We're off? Oh, we lost it?
Oh, caca. So what do we have to do? Hello?
I think he's fixing it.
Oh, okay.
No, you guys are still... Okay, so hang on a second, because there's a delay on my end.
Okay.
Also, you guys have a lot of background noise that I'm trying to clean up.
Oh, I'm in total silence.
But you're still live.
Oh, we're still live? Oh, did I swear?
Are we on?
Okay, so if we are still live, anyways, sorry if I swore. I'm not really sure if I did or not. I try not to swear in public. So everybody, we're on? I am not trash. I've been called a money-grubbing whore. That's a step above trash. What do you mean the one-sided conversation?
Oh.
Okay, so I'm speaking to my executive producer. Apparently he's in ghost mode. So we were having a conversation. I'm not losing my mind, okay?
Yeah, she is.
Back to what we were talking about. So we're... Oh, well, I may have lost my mind, but some people say I'm crazy. So anyways, so we get Diane, and she's like swimming in my back seat because this is a new car to me, right? So I'm like, holy crap, how are we going to get her up? So we managed. We get into the back seat, and I'm thinking we're going to have to drive to the ER with the door open with her legs hanging out because...
No, you were going to drive to your house first, and then we were like, you know what, maybe we should go to the emergency room.
Exactly, right? So I was about to pull out, and I was like, you're going to be fine. You ain't bleeding. Ain't nothing poking through your skin. You can wiggle your toes. I made my kid go to hockey, and I think he had a broken foot. It's just, that's how I was growing up, and that's, my dad, like, what are you crying for? Like, you ain't bleeding. That's the military cop in the family. But so we think, in an extraordinary abundance of caution, we're going to go to the ER. Now, I have to preface this by saying that I don't drink and drive. So we had 2 drinks, and that's it. And it was after I spoke at the event. So we get to the hospital, and I have a friend who is a surgeon. It's John Wilson and oh my God, Jesse Alfonso's dad. I can't remember his first name. It's terrible. But anyways, so they're Cape Cod Orthopedics. So I go in there and I say, listen, should I have an orthopedic surgeon give you a call because we've heard these terrible, you're going to wait 14 hours in the emergency room or whatever. So they're like, no. And Di goes, of course, we get the wheelchair and we get her in. And he goes, do you think this looks broken? And they're like, oh, shit, yeah, that's broken. And so there's, us cops standing in the background. And we're still like, yeah, it ain't broken, right? So we get into the ER, and all of a sudden, she starts to turn white. That is when I knew that it was in fact broken. So we go into the room, and of course, we've been handed through a bunch of people, right? So this person comes in, and he starts asking questions, and I said, I'm sorry, are you the doctor? He goes, did you not hear me when I walked in here? And I said, hi, I'm Dr. Bosco. I go, Dr. Bosco? I go, Dr. Bosco, we talk shit about you all the time at the dinner table. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I don't know if you remember this. I said, you're friends with a friend of ours, Trooper Paul Gifford. And he's like, oh, Giff, great guy. I'm like, yeah, I know, we'll get to Giff. But I said, you asked my daughter if she was a female through and through. And just then, what happened? My daughter called on the freaking phone, so I put her on speakerphone.
That's right. Yep.
We're being so fresh because we're all cops, right? And we're like, Di, if you wanted the attention, you should have ran for office yourself. And we could have made it all about you tonight. And we're giving her shit. And we're like, she's a baby. She thinks she broke her ankle. And the guy looks at it and he's like, that looks broken to me. And I'm like, and my daughter calls and I put her on speakerphone. And I go, Kyle, guess who I'm with? Dr. Bosco. She goes, you tell him for me that he scarred me for life. I was 13 years old and he asked me if I was a girl through and through. She's like, do I not look like a girl? And so, of course, I love Dr. Bosco. I have to say, he had a great sense of humor. He's like, well, you have to be careful. Her name's Kyle, but she's very feminine. She's a beautiful girl.
Yes.
So he took that very well, I have to say. And then he said, so have you ladies been drinking tonight? I said, no, we're just fresh like this all the time. So 5 minutes later, Di's blood alcohol comes back. And I don't remember what it was, like 0.08 is legal, like 0.02 or something, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, and he was shocked. He's like, yep, it's 0.02. I said, I told you we don't drink and drive. That's irresponsible. That's just a stupid thing to do.
And then I said, I think I'm going to be sick.
So Diane's like, I think I'm going to throw up. And so
they bring me this long,
it
looked like a big, long green condom, I think is what I got.
Yes. It's like when you're on the plane, so you don't throw up all over everyone else and so that you don't spray, right? So, but then he says to me, so then I put the IV in Di, and he goes, I'm going to give her a little bit of Versed. Now I have to say, I thought Versed was because she said, I'm going to throw up. So he goes, I'm going to give her a little Versed. So I thought Versed was something so she didn't throw up because they had onboarded her. Right. So they put in the IV and they said they're going to give her pain meds because once they saw the horrendous, I think it was broken in 3 places and ligaments were torn. I was like, yeah, you're freaking rock.
And it was dislocated as well.
Okay. So it was like if you put your fist together and then you turn one to the right and then lift it up an inch, that's what her ankle looked like. And of course, I'm like, can I get a copy of that? Right. So now all kinds of people are coming in the room. Now, mind you, I did have 2 drinks, but I haven't peed since I left the place, and I've had twins. Granted, it was 16 years ago, but you have to understand these things that when you have twins and you have to pee, there's no
pretty quick.
You're at exit 2 and you're gonna have to wait till exit 8. No. You have to find a bathroom. So I'm all of a sudden he gives her the Versed and Di is like out like a freaking light. I'm like, what'd you do to her? So they're giving her the sternum rub, and I'm like, holy shit, I thought that's he's like, oh, I didn't mean to knock her out. And I was like, you knocked her out? I thought it's just she didn't throw up. So I'm like, I love you, you're gonna be okay. Now all of a sudden they start pulling, like people come in, one guy's grabbing her thigh, Bosco is grabbing her knee and her foot, and he starts to tug like a bitch, like pulling it, and Diane is sweating. All of a sudden, boom, she's out. But before she's out, she said, shit, piss, motherfucker, what the fuck? And this nurse, CJ, and those weren't the exact words, but it's close enough, right? This nurse, CJ, was so freaking funny. He turns to her without missing a beat, and he goes, when were you diagnosed with Tourette's? And I was like, I peed my pants a little bit, like enough to be wet and uncomfortable. And I was like, son of a bitch, you made me pee my pants. I was laughing so hard. And all of a sudden I heard this like great pop, like it was like firework went off, right? And then Di was, I mean, and the whole time
I was
like
out, I think, at that point.
Before this, like I was like, what the hell happened? Like I'm like, Di, I love you. You're gonna be okay. Like I knew she was unconscious, but they say that people have memories of being unconscious, right? So I was holding her hand, and my friend Kim was holding her other hand, and we're like, "You're gonna be okay." And then bang! It was the most violent thing because they were trying to locate, put the joint back together. So Diane wakes up and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
And I have a splint and everything, and they're like, "Yeah, you can pretty much go now." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Right. So, but I have to say, like, they put this thing on her, like, don't wet it too much. And it was like a linguine noodle, right? But when they put it on her leg, it all of a sudden it immediately was like a ready-made cast. Okay, so that's not even the best part. Okay, so we leave there. Of course, I have to get my pictures of this horrendous leg, right? And we get home, and it took us 20 minutes to get from my driveway up I have these beautiful granite slabs that my husband
let's
put
keep
in front
in
of our
mind,
house.
I'm hopping on one foot, all right, and I had a previous shoulder injury, and I'm walking between two Amazons that are both 5'7" and 5'8", and I'm 5'2".
But Diane is a lefty, so she was all discombobulated because she couldn't put the weight, like it was like a disconnect. It's like trying to tie a knot if you're lefty and you're trying to teach someone who's righty. So the two of us are tall, and we're so finally in it, right? We're like, man, I am sweating like a bitch, and I'm like, what are we gonna do? So ingenuity, right?
I think I sat on your front stoop and I said, I'm not moving.
Right? So it took us, I mean, this was a horrendous, like we got out of there at like 10, and now we're talking about like 3 o'clock in the morning, right? We're all exhausted and we're sweaty, and I have pee pants. So I run up, I change my pants, and I come down, and I'm like, you know what? I grab a blanket, and I'm like, Di, sit on this. We dragged her ass to the bathroom, which was probably only about 10 feet, right? So I think I'm a hero. Okay, we got her to the bathroom, but now how are we going to get her up? So like I had to get a crate, and she had to swing her leg, and it was a total shit show. But the best part of it, okay, I have to say, of all of this, I slept on the couch. I have this beautiful couch. It's like a twin bed. It's huge. Right? It's big, huge bed.
Very comfortable.
I had Di all to myself.
Yep.
24/7. I ruined my floor because I had to put her in a chair and push her because she couldn't use the freaking crutches because she's a lefty. And I was like, bitch,
I can't. I'm not coordinated. I tried to use the crutches and I fell.
Oh my God. And we are totally enamored with Chief Bradley Taylor.
Oh yeah, from Live Patrol that we tried to watch the show 6 times.
Live Patrol. And of course we were in the middle. We had this big case that we were presenting. Because Di's an integral part of my investigative team, and she's really good at it. And we had someone else that was here with us, so we were able to have the client was magnanimous enough to come to my house, and we had to do the presentation with Di on my couch, and of course she can't get in the shower because we can't get her up the stairs. So it was very like. But, I was, of all the things that happened, Di, I mean, I love you so much. And I was so grateful to just have you all to myself.
She wanted me to have my surgery down the Cape.
I totally did. I was like.
I am now on, this happened November 2nd, I think, 3rd.
No,
and I am now on, because I just got my cast changed today, another 4 weeks of non-weight bearing. So we're now talking, since November 3rd, it's going to be January, November, December. Yeah, it's going to probably be like 8 to 10 weeks of non-weight bearing, because that's how.
But you lost 10 pounds.
I did.
With me.
I did.
I felt so bad. You got home and you're like, I lost 10 pounds. And I'm like, oh shit, did I starve you to death?
No, you didn't. We ate fine.
Yeah. And it was so funny. And Di kept saying to my husband, like, I'm so sorry. He's like, no, I love it. He goes, she was like, I'm so sorry about your floor. He goes, I don't give a shit. And it was great because, like, my kids are in and out. They're going to school. How were we there? Like, so we there. Like, that was November 3rd was a Friday.
Yeah, I was
So
there
like
until
Friday, Saturday,
Wednesday.
Sunday. Oh, till Wednesday.
Yeah.
We got a ton of work done.
Oh yeah.
And we were able to help another person. That I don't know if anybody knows, but we do a lot of nonprofit work for people who have been wrongfully terminated from their jobs illegally, and we're really super good at it. And we were able to help another person, which I'm so grateful for. And I can't tell you that whole story, but it was super rewarding to be able to sit next to Di and to be able to, work with her, not on Skype or not on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And mind
so-
you, at
well,
3
so
o'clock in the morning when I have like pieces of paper over me while I'm like half sleeping going, Diane, you got that? And I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's right here. Like,
Well, that's the funny thing, right? Like, I have these terrible bouts of insomnia. And, so typically what I'll do is I'll either work or I'll go downstairs, I'll work out, or I'll go do work outside that I need to do for my job. And all of a sudden would wake up and I would look over and Di would have like her laptop would be open. She had papers all over her. She had one on her head, and I didn't have the wherewithal to take actual picture of it, but it was like a big like sleepover. And then I'd give her pain meds because of course I was in charge of dispensing it. I'm like, I don't want anybody to get addicted on my watch,
Yeah.
But I'd be talking to her. All of a sudden, I look over. I'm like, oh man, I'm so jealous. If I could just sleep right now. But so yeah, we went off on a total tangent there. But so when are you coming back? Because I'm gonna have to bubble wrap you when you come down next time. Like and I always thought I wanted to be a nurse. I thought around 20 years, I thought maybe I'd leave the state police, and I started taking the classes for nursing. I took I've already done I have a minor in chemistry, so I took the biology classes. And this one woman, I was in a fatal crash, and she was wheeled past me, and the odor. I'm okay with the visual, but poop is not my thing. And this woman was screaming, "Who's going to change my diaper?" And I looked at her toenails, and I swear they were like 3 inches long. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not. No, the nurse thing is anything for me. No thanks. I'm not doing it. But I was happy to take care of you. And we never
I wasn't wearing a diaper.
Oh, thank God, right? You had those great lavender wipes, which was really good. And I'm like, listen, we can wash your hair in the sink. And, and Di's got long hair to the middle of her back. And I would kill for a head of hair. Like,
yeah, well, it's a little bit more gray right now because I can't get to my hair salon. So well, I'm not going gray naturally and gracefully. It's not going to happen.
No, the hell with that, damn it. Like, I never thought I would ever do plastic surgery, but I was like, you know what? It's on the table, honestly, like, I wouldn't mind having a little Botox here and there. I have no, and if you asked me 10 years ago, I'd be like, nah. What? Whatever.
I mean, gravity sits there and, frown lines or happy lines. And I would have no qualms about it whatsoever.
So I watched this Tucker Carlson thing today, and it was so cool. It was like someone asked him, how do you, and Tucker made a statement, which I thought was odd. He's like, I hate Democrats. I don't like Republicans either. And I was like, wow, really? Because didn't you interview Trump? And, wasn't there talk of you being a VP or something? No, not that he would want to do that, but that was shocking to me. But the thing that I liked, and I had an executive coach, Stacey McKenna, when I ran for state senate, and she was so good to me. She said, she taught me how to work things in triangles. Like when you're running for office, the thing you want is money, connections, and votes. And that's very simple. It can be extremely overwhelming, with a broken vault and all. But she breaks down things very simply. And one of the things that she would be proud of Tucker Carlson for saying is, don't give a shit, basically, about anybody who doesn't love you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when you break it down like that, the world's a lot easier to live in. And there's a lot of people, that have trouble over at the sheriff's department because it seems like the sheriff doesn't care about her
people.
her employees.
Yeah.
Her own employees. And one of the things in law enforcement is to take care of your people,
And I know that, of course, with our lovely conversation tonight, because I think we're at an end, because it's 9:59, believe it or not.
We didn't even get a chance to talk about Michelle Wu. Woo.
Because we're going to have an exciting and very, thought-provoking show with Darylyn's friend from Israel. So we want to make sure that you delete. We want to make sure that you join us. It's going to probably be a 2-parter or even a 3-parter, but there's a lot of information that she gives out, a lot of history, and it's something you really don't want to miss. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you next week.